Hello everyone, welcome to Saturday's edition of the Pritchard Cycling News Show. We've got all the latest news from the first stage of Vuelta coming up with Jesper and Victor. Shortly I'm going to take you through all the other stories I can get through. Currently, right out there, the whole family is having a whale of a time in the paddling pool, in the garden, in the 25-degree heat that we've got here in England, and I'm currently in my office sweating my face off. The least you can do is go over and buy some merch. Also, over the weekend, there's like 10% off if you head over to Teespring. Now, if you want the code for 10% off, leave us a message down in the comments or head over to Instagram, give us a DM and we'll send you the code out. If you want to be part of the Mug Club or the Tea Club, go and buy some merch. But let's get into the news. Sweaty transition. I don't know how many times I'm going to be reporting the same story over and over again. YouTuber Jesper Victor has crashed his bike again.
He gets another push from the left, and that's when it really went wrong.
When's this man gonna learn? Thankfully, it looks like he's all right. Links down in the description if you want to go and check the full video out. Great little crit video. But Jesper, stop bloody crashing. Clearly not his fault this time, but I don't think the second one was. In fact, I don't think any of them are. I think he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Next up, an Alessandro Petacchi, the retired cyclist. He receives a 2-year ban for his involvement in Operation Adalas between 2012 and 2013. The most pointless ban in the world. Next up, just a little bit of transfer news. Remco Evenepoel, he's officially extended his deal with Deceuninck Quickstep. The contract now runs all the way till 2023. Also staying with the same team, Ryan Mullen, he's extended his contract over at Trek Segafredo.
Hi everyone, I've got some really good news I'd like to let you all know about. I'm staying with Trek Segafredo for 2 more years. It's been a really great 2 years with the team so far. I've made some great friendships with both riders and staff, and I've managed to string together some good results along the way. And with that in mind, I'm really looking forward to the next 2 years with the team. Sadly at the moment I've been sidelined with a bit of a knee injury, so I'm doing everything I can to get back on the road with the team.
I love this story coming out of Cycling Weekly. The headline reads, "I'm glad I didn't win this year. The trials and tribulations of winning 500 kilos of salmon at the Arctic Race of Norway." So instead of the polka dot jersey that you see in the Tour de France for the King of the Mountains, the Arctic Race of Norway goes for something else. The salmon jersey. But not only do they get to take that salmon jersey home, they also get to take home 500 kilos worth of salmon. Now, according to the article, with a kilo of fish currently priced at 50 Norwegian krone, that equates to about £4.50, and the prize is worth £2,250. The prize is certainly not to be sniffed at. Good work, Cycling Weekly. Previous winners of the salmon jersey are still said to be getting through the 500 kilos of salmon that they won. But this year's winner, how long is it going to take him to get through it? I mean, is that a prize that would you like a lifetime supply of salmon? Here's a question for you. What's the weirdest prize you've ever seen or won at a cycling race? Leave them down below. Now, a couple of months ago now, we reported on the GB Giro, and one professional cyclist who took part in that was Lachlan Morton. He obliterated the field. It was basically a bike packing race all the way from Land's End to John O'Groats, and the majority of it was done off-road.
Obviously something wrong with me. From him I went into the next bit of trail and I thought I saw one of the cameramen, and I was like, I should stop and say hey. And look back, he wasn't there, and I was like, okay, time to get there.
But he's now taking on a brand new challenge. Lachlan Morton is set to undertake another incredible adventure. This time he's bikepacking from Durango to Denver along the Colorado Trail. He's dedicating his 500-mile undertaking to the Starlight Foundation. The ride starts tomorrow, very early morning, over in Colorado. 500 miles, bikepacking. Crazy, absolutely crazy. If you want to donate to it, if you want to follow his journey, then follow the link down in the description. Crazy boy. I tell you what, it is absolutely red hot in here. I don't know if you can see me, but I am perspiring in here. Right. Final story before we head over to Victor and Jesper is a story that Marcel Kittel has officially retired from cycling. Obviously this story broke yesterday, and over on Cycling News I have lost all motivation to keep torturing myself on a bike. The 31-year-old German sprinter terminated his contract with Katusha Alpecin in early May, saying he wanted to take some time away from the sport to consider his future. He spent a few days at the Tour de France, and there was potential of him returning with Jumbo Visma. but he confirmed a decision to retire in an interview with the weekend magazine of German newspaper Der Spiegel. Kittel said, "Pain defines the sport, the world in which you live. I have lost all motivation to continue to torture myself on the bike." And what he went on to say, it just sums up the reason he decided to retire. As a cyclist, you're traveling 200 days a year, and I don't want to see my son grow up on Skype. Family, friends, everything was too short, plus the permanent fatigue and the routine. I've realised the loss of quality of life more and more. And listen, I've never stood in his shoes, but I've seen friends who are professional cyclists. Well, I don't actually see them. That's kind of the point. The fact that you see a friend, if they're a professional cyclist, you're lucky if you see them once or twice a year, unless you're in their bubble and you're actually traveling with them riding. It's crazy how little they get to see their friends and families. And you know, it sounds amazing, this career as a professional cyclist. You get to travel the world, you get to ride your bike, you get to do this and this and this. But also, they don't tell you, listen, you're going to be under some serious pressure, and if you can't handle this pressure, this could seriously mess with your mental well-being, with your physical well-being. But all you got to do is perform. If you can perform for us, we will pay you the big bucks. And ultimately, Marcel Kittel's got to the point now where he feels that potentially maybe he can't perform the way he wants. There's far too much pressure on him, and ultimately he's about to be a father, and that switch in priority maybe was all he needed to actually say, do you know what? I'm done. He won 14 stages at the Tour de France, and in total he took 89 victories. He's won on the Champs-Élysées, he's worn the yellow jersey, and he also took 4 stage victories in the 2014 Tour de France. There's going to be thousands of people that are going to miss Marcel Kittel in the professional peloton. Let's take a look at a few tweets that people have been sending him. Dan Lloyd said, "I've got huge respect for Marcel Kittel's decision. The easy one would have been to continue getting a fat paycheck. It highlights how tough the sport is both mentally and physically. What a career too. When he was at his best, he was unbeatable." Journalist Daniel Freeby said, "Sad to see Marcel Kittel leave the pro peloton. An absolute gentleman who honoured the sport, entertained us, and was exemplary in his dealings with the media in spite of his increasingly mixed feelings about his place in the whole circus. Congratulations to him on a stellar career." DeCourcy Quickstep tweeted, "A gentleman, a winner, an inspiration for young riders, a phenomenal sprinter who left his mark over cycling and a generation of fans. Thank you for the great memories, Marcel Kittel. Enjoy the time with your family and all the best for what comes next." Fellow countryman Andre Greipel said, "Dear Marcel Kittel, thank you for inspiring cycling talents and us and thank you for inspiring cycling talents and everything you did, especially for cycling in Germany. I enjoyed riding and racing against you and wishing you all the best for the future and the new chapter in your life." And the messages of support on Twitter from Marcel Kittel after he announced it was they just went on and on and on and on. It's going to be sad to see him leave. Right then, it's time to head over to Spain for stage 1 of La Vuelta. Jesper, Victor, what the hell happened?
Chris, everything happened. I mean, some people say that team time trials are boring, and usually I find myself in that category too, as well. But today, oh my god, it had everything, drama from the beginning to the end. So at this point in the video, if you do not want to get spoiled about the results in today's Vuelta Espana Team Time Trial stage, this is the time you tune away, you wait, watch the highlights, and then come back to this moment. So I'll give you 2 seconds to click off the video, come back. Before the stage even started today, there was so much drama because the Euskadi team, one of the wildcard teams, were on the TT Recon route, and as they were out there, the team car came into the corner, as you can see, and as they were turning left, they locked their wheels and went straight into the wall. Now, we assured that all the personnel in the car is safe, but when you look at it on the replay, what were they thinking? Why was he going so hard into the corner? I personally have been in a few team cars from time to time in Tour of Britain and Tour de France, and being in that caravan, they go like crazy, but it's literally a team time trial. What are you doing? And not even that, it's the recon prior to the team time trial. What? Then when the racing got underway today, the first bit of drama within the stage was AG2R. Now, the rules clearly state that the 5th rider across the line is the rider that counts as your time. But AG2R finished with 4 riders, and yet they were still given a time. Now, they have been changing the rules back and forth. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. But today, in the rules, in the Grand Tour sanctioned by the UCI and held by the ASO, is definitely 5 riders. But as you can clearly see, AG2R only finished with 4. So what's happening there? Not that it really matters, but they do have Pierre Latour, who is a really strong rider who could do very well in this Vuelta a España. So that rule change is probably the difference of losing 20, 30, 40 seconds more. So was this legit or not? I mean, I don't really mind. It's more for the sake of continuity, because cycling have these issues with enforcing the rules when it matters and when it doesn't. And speaking of that, getting to the main drama of today's stage, Lotto, or Jumbo Visma, and the Koenig Quickstep were both involved, and also UAE, with a bit of oil spillage on the road. So prior to these teams coming through on today's TTT, there wasn't any oil spillage, there was no water on the stage. But as they got to this point in the course, and we saw it first with Team Jumbo Visma, they were taking the right-hand turn, they were taking the left, and you can see the oil or the water or the liquid substance, it got on the wheels. And like you, the cyclist, you know as well, once you get that lubricant on the wheels, you lose the friction with the road. And the first rider we see go down, if you zoom in, you can just see the bottom of the wheel touching the white lines. And normally on white lines, there's very little friction to begin with, so you have the reduced friction on the wheel with the reduced friction off the white line, and the rider just went down. But that wasn't the entire reason, because the rider in front of him and the rider in front of him also went down, and that caused Roglic and Steven Kruijswijk to lose over 40 seconds on a stage they were supposed to win. They lost over 40 seconds in. And to make matters even worse, or I guess better for Jumbo Visma, they were the reason the Koenig Quickstep did not win. So with the accidents happening to Jumbo Visma, I mean, Sepp Kuss was gone within the first kilometer, not sure what happened there. Throughout the chaos, throughout all the crashing and the bikes changing, etc., on one of the turns, Jumbo Visma parked the car because supposedly a bike had fallen off from the roof, but it was on the apex of the turn. So the Koenig Quickstep comes flying through the corner, they're going super quickly, and then when they exit the corner, there's a car and there's a motorbike, and that carnage, that distraction made them lose roughly 2 seconds. Now guess the time deficit that they lost to Astana in the end? 2 seconds. Now, there should be sanctions for the DS. I mean, if the rules are enforced properly, that was obstruction of the race. The DS should be fined some Swiss francs. He should even be disbarred from the race to a degree if they can prove there was malintent. Obviously, it wasn't. But all this drama, and this is just stage 1. And adding to top of that, UAE also supposedly crashed on the oil. Tadej Pogačar and Fabio Aru both went down, losing over a minute and becoming the biggest losers of the day. Now, you know the cliche, you can't win the Vuelta a España, you can't win a Grand Tour on the first day, but you can definitely lose it, and that's kind of what it feels with Pogačar and Aru. A minute down this early on with riders up further road. It's tough. Now, all the losers, all the drama out of the way, looking towards the winners. Astana. Why did no one talk about them as a TT favorite? When you look at the squad, it just makes sense. I mean, the Izagirre brothers, Omar Fraile, Luis Leon Sanchez, Lopez, Fulsang, like they just have a powerhouse within their squad. So of course they were going to go out, put a good time. Looking further down, I mean, before we do that, Lopez, the way he let over the line, I believe he's also in the red jersey at the moment of recording this. Man, does he look good, and looks to be one of the favorites from this point onwards. Now, you can say, is it good to have the jersey this early on? Well, tomorrow they could potentially just let it go because they don't have a sprinter. They don't need to do the majority of the pacing. They just do the ceremonial bit in the first 100k, and then they swing off and say, okay, sprinter teams, you do the rest. We don't need to keep this for the next 20 days. Further down, you saw Sunweb with a really surprising time for Wilco Kelderman. That could have been predicted as well because they have this like just dialed in lead out squad for their sprints. They used that in the team time trial. And then you got got EF Drapac that had the lead for the majority of the stage with Higuita, Hugh Carthy, Rigoberto Urán. They've got the cars to play. Looking further down in the losers category, again, Ineos, big surprise, as well as Movistar. Now that's today's stage out of the way. All the drama, and I'm sure many more storylines will come through, and when Chris covers up again on Monday, I believe, or maybe it's only back on Wednesday, Vig and I will take over in case Chris is on vacation, so you still get your fix. But the next stage, now stage 2 I believe that will be, because the TTT is technically stage 1. Tomorrow's stage, looking at it, you could say it looks too tough for the sprinters, but when you look at the sprinters here, I mean Sam Bennett, Fernando Gaviria, Luka Meskech, John Degenkolb, Eddie Turns, and a few others, I think they will all get over these tough climbs. So Victor and I have sat down and had a closer look on Google Maps on the decisive last 2 climbs, because the beginning won't be raced that fast. You'll see a breakaway of 4 or 5 riders get up the road, and they will get out of the way, and then they will just take off the King of the Mountain points. There'll be a fight in the morning, because there will be somebody in the KOM jersey at the end of the day, but the beginning they'll let them go, look around and be happy. Now looking at the last 2 climbs, you first have a climb that's about 3k long at 8 to 10% average. Yes, it's tough, but the roads are so wide and it's such good road surface that it'll be fast, and the riders near the back won't be dropped that fast, on that quick of a road, so they should get over the top. And then you look at the profile and there's another bump, and I said to Victor, you know, in Spain these profiles usually lie. When it's just a minor bump, it's sometimes tougher than the categorized climb, but we looked at it and it's about 4Ks at 2% on a wide open road in a residential area. The sprinters will be fine, and then it's straight down into Calpe. So it looks like Calpe has done the most, or has bought the rights to this stage from the Vuelta Espana organizers and said, right, we're going to show the stereotypical route you do in Calpe when you come as a tourist, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm excited to see what that looks like on TV as a person that's never been to Calpe. I'm excited to see how it goes. If I had to give a prediction of who wins tomorrow, I think if I had to give a prediction of who's going to win tomorrow, it's tough to look past Sam Bennett, the lead out that Bora Hansgrohe has. Shane Archibald, despite looking pretty weak in today's TTT, all he's needed for is getting Sam Bennett into the right position, and then he does quite well. Gaviria will be up there. I hope my good friend Eddie Turns is up there. If it's a breakaway, which usually happens in the Vuelta early on, I think our friend Thomas de Gent has a good chance of taking a red and going into the breakaway and doing that, but I see it more as 80 towards sprint, 20% towards breakaway. So if it's a sprint, Sam Bennett. If it's a breakaway, it's Thomas de Gent. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed this episode of CPCN, please do subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, click that notification bell as well to never miss another video. We'll be back tomorrow with a very special edition of CPCN.